All right. Again, we want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone. It's going to be a very interesting call today. We have an opportunity to hear from the CEO. Actually, we have a unique call today because we not only have the CEO, we also have the person that met the CEO. It's kind of like that story. I like to kind of tell that story about, remember when chocolate inadvertently met up with peanut butter and they were talking, listening to music and all, they ran into each other, and next thing you know, they bumped. You put chocolate on my peanut butter. Well, you put peanut butter on my chocolate. Next thing you know, they ate it, and then Reese's peanut butter was born, and it became a legacy. Well, we have a very similar thing happen here with our company at Engage Global. We have Dr. Kedar Prasad that's been around since 1961, actually. And his accolades are too many to really mention in the introduction. But the one thing we can agree is that his products speak for itself. And literally, we have tens of thousands of people that are now benefiting from his product. So we're going to go ahead and I'd like to introduce you to the person that one of the people that's really at the top of the pinnacle, so to speak. And that person has been around for quite a while. And actually, if it wasn't for his stick-to-itness, a lot of us wouldn't have been here today. So Jeff, for the next hour, we're excited to hear from you, David Nemelka, and maybe Dr. Kedar Prasad, and hopefully we'll have even a stronger reason why this is the best time, the best company, the best product, and especially today, the best opportunity. Jeff, get us started.
Thank you so much, Bernard, for leading us out here, for setting the stage for us. This is going to be an incredible evening, and there's still time for you to reach out to those that you don't see yet in the chat, and or in the participants list, and let's get them on, because we're going to be going over some things today as it relates to our story. And so thank you again, Bernard, for opening this up, and it is just such an honor to have Dr. Prasad here with us today. We will be hearing from him a little later on. Let's see. All right, so we got things going on here in Zoom that I haven't seen before, and so this is an awesome opportunity to just lean into where we are this afternoon, this early evening, as we meet together as a micro daily family. I'm excited to be here because of the things that are going to be shared and the nature of these things. I need to make sure that we are protected legally. And so if you'll follow along with me, I'm going to pull up our disclaimer. I will read that, and then we will jump right into today's topic. And so if you'll just follow along with me, I'm going to pull this disclaimer up here onto the screen, and just like I said, follow along with me. These statements and comments have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This information is for educational purposes only and includes information on recent advances in research on micronutrients. Engage, the micronutrient company, does not claim that our products diagnose, treat, cure, heal, or prevent any disease or injury. Engage's products do, however, address our deficiencies and provide our bodies with the nutrition that we are lacking. Nothing here is intended to be a substitute for a treatment or a visit to your primary healthcare provider. So that having been taken care of, we are free to move about, and I'm grateful that I've got two incredible individuals acting as my co-host this evening, Errol Woodham and also Bernard Dean. And if you guys will just watch, we haven't seen yet. I'm not seeing here. It usually comes in on Dave's iPhone 2. And I'm looking for that because that is the owner of our company. I tried to reach out to him just prior to this call to see if I could get permission to share some of the story from my perspective. And I'm gonna just go with it, because we are at such an incredible time in the history of this company and in what's going on in the world around us. What we can do as we come together, and it's that ability to connect with each other and know that we've got each other's backs. It just makes such a difference. So I'm gonna just jump in our Wayback Machine, and I'm gonna share something with all of you. When when this was being put together, when Jonathan was talking about having an evening like this, the original title wasn't going to be, the story of Engage. It was going to be Engage the Opportunity. And depending upon what emphasis you placed on what word in that engage the opportunity or engage the opportunity, there is a direction for all of us to lean in, to have a place at the table where we feel comfortable sharing. But when we go in that Wayback Machine, we weren't always Engage Global. In fact, in the very beginning, when when we were sharing this, it was Engage DNA. Okay, I really like where we have moved since then about Engage. We went Engage Global, and now if you look at, I was gonna bring one of our new logos in here where it just says Engage, because Engage allows us to do a verb. It allows us to take an action. It allows us to share this. And these are some of the things that I want to talk about. But I'm going to hold up here in front of the camera something that is very special to me, because it goes back there 10, 11 years ago when we were Engage DNA. And my father had the incredible experience that he did with the product. My mom got excited about it and wanted to involve my siblings and other family members, her sister, my father's sisters. And so at that point, the Engage DNA store, we had the opportunity to, and I'm going to hold this up there in front of you. Do you see that? That was our original logo, because it was called Engage DNA. I remember the way that my mom felt about this. She didn't want a hat. She didn't want a shirt. She didn't want a bag. She wanted a blanket that would just wrap somebody up in comfort, because she really felt like this is what this products had done for her husband, for my dad. And this, at that point, was how we saw the product. In fact, it was at the first convention that we ever had when we moved from this packaging into the box itself, where there was this swag was available to my mom. And so it was just, that's kind of that foundational aspect where it really began to touch my heart. And I want to go with, it wasn't that convention, but another one that we had, and it was prior to Dr. Prasad being full-time with us. In fact, this was at a time, and I'm just looking down through to see if we've got, I'm not seeing David Nemelke yet, but this goes back to a time when it was Dr. Prasad's business partners, an individual whose names also appear on some of the patents that you have seen. And this was Dr. Prasad's partner at the time, talking about that very beginning. And so this is part of our story, and I'm going to share it with you tonight as a perspective, because Dr. Erlock is no longer with us. Dr. Prasad has disbanded that company. And so we have the man himself, but I'm gonna just give you this perspective as a little bit of piece of history and where we are as it relates to this opportunity. So this is what I've entitled Birth of MMF, because you remember back then, we were still referring to it as military micronutrient formulation. And so here's Dr. Erlock at one of our first conventions.
Really a fascinating story, and I think it underlies what's exciting about MMF and Engage Global, because it's a unique story, and no other product in the world has this story. Kedar Prasad and I were wondering what we were going to do after we started our research, because we had a lot of interest from physicians, especially in New York, as to how we were going to roll this out. And unfortunately, September 11th, 2001 happened before we could launch with physicians. So we were in a hotel in Washington intending to actually meet with NIH personnel to tell them about our discoveries with this unique micronutrients that we were sort of looking at different formulations, when the phone rang in the hotel room. And it was the Marine Corps, the United States Marine Corps. I have no idea how they knew we were in that hotel room, but they said, "Is this Dr. Prasad and Dr. Hasse?" They had read Kedar's initial paper on using micronutrients for protection against a number of conditions. And we had written a paper together, so they knew both of our names. And we said, "Yes, this is us." And they said, "Would you mind coming to Quantico, Virginia?" And we said, "What?" And they said, "Well, we have some Russians here, and we'd like you to meet them and talk with them." So Kedar and I went to Quantico, Virginia, and we sat at a long table, and there were these guys with these red stars on their hat, looked like Russians, and they were had translators. And it turns out that the Russians had used some micronutrients in their war against the Mujahideen, their Afghan war in the late 1980s. And what they found was very interesting. They found that when they gave micronutrients to these soldiers, and their formula was nowhere near as comprehensive as what we came up with, which is now MMF, they actually got better outcomes. They got less injury severity scores. They had less multiple organ failure. And when these Russian soldiers got out of the combat zone, they had better neurologic outcomes. So the Marines said to Kedar and I, "Can you please make a formula for us that will protect our Marines and our Army soldiers and our Rangers and our Special Navy SEALs and everybody, because we're going to war. We're going to go into Afghanistan. We may go into Iraq. We have to fight a very bad enemy, and we need your help. Please put together a micronutrient formulation that will protect our U.S. operating forces against some very hostile environments, possibly toxic agents, maybe even sort of chemical agents and nerve agents. Who knows what they'll encounter. But if you could do that, we'd appreciate it." And what came out of that, Jason, was a multi-year, multi-million-dollar effort supported by the United States Congress, where we put together a formulation that was a blockbuster, and now Engage Global has it. It's MMF. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
So, my goodness, there we've got a little bit of insight, and I apologize, that was Dr. Hasse. Next to him and off camera was Dr. Urlach, but we have Dr. Kedar Prasad here with us. And is there something that you would like to add to that early beginning, Dr. Prasad here? Clarification, you probably haven't heard or seen that little clip from Dr.
No, I've not seen at all.
Yeah.
No, the only thing is that, when the meeting was over in Quantico, then the general asked, "Can you make a preparation like them?" I said, "Yeah, we have a better one." So then he said, "Well, you have to go and get the approval from our scientists." So next 9 months, I gave a 17 lecture to the scientists of various armed forces, Marine Corps, Air Force, and all those things. Plus, many of them have a double committee of scientists for a specific region. So after that, the scientists said that, yes, they were asked as you know, they are very conservative scientists, the military one, and they asked some nasty question, which I handled very well. And at the end of the meeting, they said, "Yeah, you have a good scientific rationale for your product." Now you have to test it. I said, we don't have money. He said, well, go to the Congress. So then Jerry and I walked through the Congress, as I said, for another 9 months, and secure funding, not for us, but secure funding so that they can announce it and anybody can compete it, not just me. It was not funding meant especially to me. So I wrote 60-page grant every time they have this thing. And then fortunately we got approved our grant and we got the money, and then we shared it, and the rest is history.
My goodness. So just to clarify for people, because they're going to refer back to this, if we go into this science booklet that we hold up every time when we start to describe and explain this, we talk about the purpose, why this was created, and you can see that I have just highlighted here the significance of that. But what you're saying, Dr. Prasad, is back here on this timeline.
Yes.
That money that you went out and originally walked the halls of Congress, you tried to get the funding, that wasn't because you already had the contract. That was money to do the research and then open it up to bidders, just like any type of a government bid.
Contract, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you guys, that is significant, where we think that, a lot of us just say, well, Dr. Prasad was there. They gave him the contract right off the bat.
No, they didn't give me. I competed for the contract.
Competed for the contract. And so here we are, when we're out sharing this product, we feel compelled to talk to others. Dr. Prasad, with just faith, a hope that this would go his direction, went out and walked the halls of Congress, wrote 60-page grant proposals, trying to get money. He knowing that once he secured all the money, all that was going to do is allow them to test the formula.
Yeah.
And then it still had to go out for an open bid. So the Herbalifes and the Amways and the New Skins and the USANAs, all those billion-dollar supplement companies had the opportunity to throw their hat in the ring and say they want to make it.
Sure.
Even the drug companies, because it went out like a government bid. It went out to everybody. And you're describing to us that that effort, that energy, that work that you put into securing the funding, having it be your formula, even though it was all tested and validated at some point, you needed to still win the contract.
Exactly. Without that, it would not have been possible to test in Marine Corps and people in veterans with a traumatic brain injury. So it was not that easy. I mean, then to get approval to run the experiment required 9 months to get approval from IRB. I have to write again all the protocol for testing. So it was not an easy job, tell you right now.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Well, and to have you kind of fill in some of that initial information, to me, is just that much more. I feel confident in our ability to go out and stack up against the competition.
Exactly.
Because because we've been against the competition right in the very beginning. You've described to us that not only did you create this formula, you had it tested, but then it had to go out for open bid for everybody to manufacture. And so we were up against the best of the best at that point.
Exactly.
I say we're up against them. You at that point, Dr. Prasad, you had shouldered that entire responsibility, and we're so grateful that you stuck it out. That we could all gain just some motivation and some inspiration as to what it took for you to just get it initially.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it is that I wanted to develop it so that the maximum number of people can get better health. That was my mission, how to help people right from the beginning. I got gene from my mother. My mother was like that. So I think, but fortunately in this case, that every effort I made, I succeeded it. Yeah. And so I think now the product is all the things we are developing on the same principle.
You just kept going, even though you had some of those nasty questions from individuals who were trying to trip you up. I mean, you were probably really discouraged at points when you're saying, we got to go to Congress again. We've got to walk, the aisle, both sides of the aisle. Yeah, 17 lectures, and any one of those could determine whether or not this was going to
they may not have approved. One of the nastiest guy was chairman of radiation oncology in Washington Hospital. He was the nastiest guy. And after the meeting, he said, "Can you come and visit my lab?" So he invited me to visit his lab and offer a collaboration. But, at that time, we didn't have any money or anything. So at that time, even the product was not tested,
Wow.
But anyway, the surprising thing was that after asking all these nasty questions for 5 minutes, at the end of the meeting, he said, "Can you visit my lab? I will show you what I'm doing."
So affiliates that are on this call, take that as an example. We have the father of micronutrients right here, the world's foremost expert on micronutrition and supplementation, that has had some potential no's and some, I'm going to take you to task on this. And some of those could be offensive. You said it was nasty questions, and look, you turned the tables.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
What a beginning. Talk about an incredible story. Well, later on in this hour, and I suggest that those of you that are on here now, reach back out if you don't see somebody that is in the participants list that you'd like to hear. We're going to have Dr. Court come on and talk about an experience just last weekend that kind of brings this full circle, where he's in front of a bunch of very educated doctors, and we bring this full circle to 20, 21, 22 plus years later, and a situation that we're in. But before we go there, I'd like to and we also have another one of our legacy leaders that's going to be on towards the end, Miss Beth Sturdivant. In fact, it's her birthday today, everybody, and she's chosen to spend some time here with us. She's going to talk about what she did just yesterday, as we look at engaging in this opportunity. But before I go there, Dr. Prasad, I'm going to just pull you off of the screen here for a moment, and I'm going to share one of my favorite Lunch and Learn episodes. This was about a year ago, and David Nemelka was on the call. Dr. Roberts was interviewing him, and you were also going to come on that call. And so in the middle of it, David says, "I've reached out to Dr. Prasad. I don't, he's not on yet." So just understand, this is a video, and so you are you are on. But I'm going to share this because I find myself, you guys, when we're looking at engaging the opportunity, we've talked about the story, we've talked about kind of what's brought us to here, but I want to introduce to you the other component here. It's like Bernard talked about, it's the chocolate and the peanut butter together that really becomes that marriage that makes the Reese's work. Well, it's this other individual, David Nemelka, that I want to share his passionate understanding of this story and why he's doing it. So, Dr. Prasad, I'm going to just pull you off of the spotlight so that it's full screen for everybody. And then understand that this was just about a year ago during Lunch and Learn. So this is, once again, Dr. Roberts interviewing David Nemelka.
Tell the people why it's so important to you to have micro daily available for veterans.
Well, number one, the legacy of our company is the veterans. We would not have Micro Daily, which was originally called Military Micronutrient Formulation, if it wasn't for the U.S. military. So how do you say thanks to the people who basically enabled and empowered your company to even exist? So in my mind, it's a thank you because of the legacy of our product with the military, but also it's another thank you to you and all of the veterans that have served and sacrificed so much to give us this freedom and the opportunity to live in America, which I love our country deeply and dearly, and I am forever thankful to you and so many others who have genuinely put it all on the line so that we can be blessed and benefited. So that's the kind of the foundation of the idea around our veterans program. And it's so exciting to see so many veterans benefiting and their families, to hear the story of the families that are benefiting from the veterans program and the micro daily. You know, you were talking about how as veterans, you really physically suffered and struggled a lot being in the military. You know, you lived in harsh conditions, and many of you who are veterans were in Iraq and Afghanistan. And by the way, I have personally been to Afghanistan. I know how harsh that environment is. In fact, I had a kidney stone at 17,000 feet. That was very challenging.
Wow.
So I know what, I have a sense for the sacrifice that has been given there. And so, you know, everybody, pretty much everyone, especially here in America, we're all micronutrient deficient. So when I think of veterans who are not getting the nutrition they need and they're micronutrient deficient and they're under all of this stress and all of these difficulties, what better gift can we give than to deliver micronutrients that will help basically solve that deficiency and help them be the best and healthiest person they can be. So that's the core foundation in essence behind our products. And how gifted and blessed are we with Dr. Prasad. By the way, I texted Dr. Prasad. I've not heard back from him, so I don't know why he's not on, but we'll find out. Dr. PK, I'm here for you. You know, this is the joy of my day, the pleasure of my life, the blessing of being a part of the engaged family is to share spirits and hearts and enthusiasm and blessings with one another. So I'm here for you today on this call for however and for whatever you would wish.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much. We are on the call for 30 minutes, Monday through Friday, just 30 minutes to help people understand that this is the company that you want to be connected with right now. And so the question that I know that some of our newcomers would be asking is, why do you think that your product is better than any other supplement out there? Because there are so many to choose from right now.
Yeah.
And so how would you answer them in asking that question? What makes us so great?
Well, I don't think about it. You know, I come from venture capital. My career before I started Engage was funding companies. We funded multiple billions of dollars. We have companies on the New York Stock Exchange, the American Exchange, NASDAQ that we took public. And so my life has been doing due diligence and making investments of significant amounts of capital in businesses. And so Engage was not started on a whim. Engage was not started on a prayer. Engage was started on the most scientifically sound and fundamental research that has ever been conducted in the history of supplementation. And when I saw that research as a venture capital investor, I knew there was something special. And then when I learned about who Dr. Prasad is, I mean, my goodness, world's first radiation biology PhD, Nobel Prize Committee for Medicine, 30-year professor at University of Colorado Medicine for Doctors, a decade as president of the National Society for Cancer and Nutrition. Now he's got 30 books published, of which you just shared one. There's many on Amazon you can buy. Go to PubMed, there's over 450 citations of his research. Why is ours the best? Because we have the most scientifically validated supplements in the world. And then here is the even more exciting piece of it. The literally thousands and thousands of people who are taking our micronutrients that are experiencing their micronutrient deficiencies being alleviated and even eliminated, and the benefits they're having in their life, those testimonies on the ground which you are sharing, those personally have changed my life. I started Engage as an investment, and now today Engage is a purpose. I bought my original partners out. I divested myself of all of my other business interests, and I have stepped in as CEO, and this is my mission and purpose in life. So why is our product the best in the world? Because let's just start with nobody else has Dr. Prasad, and nobody else has $24 million invested in the science behind it. Nobody has the patents. Yeah, we have Dr. Prasad has 7 patents awarded, another 3 patents pending. How does it get any better than that? And then I would ask everyone else, do you know who formulated the supplements you've been taking? How many of you personally know the man who did or formulated your supplements? And you're going to trust someone you don't know for your health? Like Centrum. So like when I was at Procter & Gamble after my graduate school at the Wharton Business School, my first job was looking at the vitamin industry. They were looking at acquiring Centrum. Well, P&G did not acquire Centrum. Do you know who did? Pfizer. Pfizer owned Centrum, a drug company. You seriously think they're going to give you the best supplements in the world? Absolutely not. So why do I believe, in fact, why do I have a conviction and a testimony that ours are the best? Because we've got the facts to disprove it and the story.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If that takes much for me to get happy and for me to want to shout.
Yes.
What you just did that thing, you gave me a health and wellness sermon right there, right quick, on what makes us, not what make me think that we are the best, but information to know that we are the best.
That's right.
When we know without a shadow of a doubt that the person who formulated our products will put his name on each and every package.
And his CQF.
Say again?
And his CQF seal, his certification of combination quality and form, that this is exactly what has been validated and what you need to deal with your micronutrient deficiencies. And so, yeah, we are all willing to put our name, our hearts, our souls, our lives, our reputations, everything we have on the line. So how do we believe? How about let's say we have it all on the line for these products and what we're doing? That's how much. Absolutely.
Wow. So, my goodness, Dr. Prasad, I don't know if you had seen that either, but isn't that amazing when we've got an owner of a company, your business partner, that is that impassioned? I mean, that
information
just came whipping out of Dave, not like he had to craft it and think about it. It is that story that is so unique. And when he says, you know, I didn't start this on a whim and a prayer. You know, this company is based on the most validated information that is out there.
Yep, correct.
It is just amazing. So I'm going to just kind of shift here to what I mentioned with Dr. Court. Last Tuesday, he and Jonette talked about what they did last weekend. And I kind of want to bring this full circle. So we're 21, 22 years down the road. And Dr. Court, if you're available, could you, there he is. I'm going to just go ahead and add your spotlight up here with Dr. Prasad. And I'm going to pull myself out of the picture, and I want you to just kind of explain the significance of what happened last weekend with the group of physicians that you were with. And I don't want to take any thunder away from you. So go ahead, Dr. Court.
Well, thanks, Jeff. You know, and this was a great trip down memory lane because we've been involved in quite a while with the company. And I remember when Dr. Hassey was telling that story in lunch line with you, Dr. Prasad, and I was like, this smells like bologna to me. And you guys are like, no, that's the way it went down. So do you remember that conversation? Yeah. So, well, a couple of weeks ago, let's see, I don't even remember what date it was now. I think it was 2 Fridays ago. On the Wednesday, we got a call from WAVI. They were having their International EEG Summit in Boulder at CU. And we got a call and they said, hey, can you put together a presentation? I said, sure. When? And they said, Saturday morning. So we went right at it, you know, and they said, oh, by the way, you have 15 minutes to deliver this presentation. And so that was, you know, 2 things that were a little difficult, but we took one of our cases, Ryan, who I think you've met Ryan. Yeah, you definitely met Ryan. Mm-hmm. And this is an electrician that I took care of at Intel. And he came to me about 3 years ago. And actually, I don't have the data on my computer at the moment. I could pull it up, but 3 years ago, he explained this is what happened to him. He worked as an electrician on a floor that had 440 panels. So not a 220 like your home, but a 440 panel. And there were 250 of them on the floor. And he did that for 10 years until one day he became functionally impaired. He drove up to the office and he couldn't get out of the vehicle. And, for people, when we talk about functional impairment, this is something that I've been dealing with for the last 8 years. I've been getting functionally impaired since '99. But the products that we have enable me to have just a normal life and rebound and be resilient. So Ryan pulls up to the office and he can't get out of the vehicle. He doesn't have the muscle coordination to get out of the vehicle. He doesn't have the ability to hardly make a phone call. He can't drive himself away from the location that he's in. So he called his wife and they called an ambulance and they took him to the hospital and they said, we can't find anything wrong with you, but your balance is terrible. So we're going to put you on balance medications. We're going to put you on depression medications. And he spent the next 9 months in bed. And then he was strong enough to go back to work, and he was back at work for a month. And then he spent another 5 months in bed. And then he got strong enough and he went back to work, and he was there 1 week and he was back in bed. And so when he came to me, he's a 41-year-old man in a wheelchair. And I pulled him up to my office. We ran all of our diagnostic tests, but the big one was the EEG, heart rate variability and balance, that we lectured about in this 15-minute slot. So we showed a video that we put together with one of our collaboratives. It was a 5-minute video of his journey. And then I presented heart rate variability findings, and basically the heart rate variability, he was, I want to say 23% overall health when he first came in. He couldn't even fill out the paperwork. And in 1 week, 5 days, we had him at 100% in heart rate variability. And in balance, which is the most difficult, he had, in our normative database, we have 500,000 people in our normative database. And for his specific age group, we had 200,000. It's the biggest database in balance. His balance for his age group was at the bottom 3%. And we didn't do it in a week, but we did it in about a month. We changed him from 3% to 92%. And they'd never seen findings like this. And then the EEG was really spectacular, because when we started with him, he had a 63-year-old brain. He was demented brain, and he had very low voltage in all of the leads, which is something that we see all the time with people, is low voltage. And in 1 week, we changed him from a 63-year-old brain as a 41-year-old man to a 34-year-old brain in 5 days. And I did the HRV and showed the video. Jet did the balance assessment, explained that, and did the EEG. In 15 minutes, we sat down, and we did talk about micro daily, and that was the basis for our nutrition. And then we had a panel that asked us questions. And when we went to sit down, we were sitting behind a PhD neurologist with 5 diplomates behind his name. And this guy was the most credentialed guy in the room. And he looked at us and he goes, "Are you two for real?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "How many people on your team?" And we said, 2 to 3. And he said, "This is the most profound work I have ever seen with such a small group of people." And, we talked about the most important thing is that you have to have optimum nutrition. Then you have to have wakeful activities, and you have to have restorative sleep. And so out of that, I derived, I've got about 4 leads right now because I don't go anywhere without talking about microdaily. So there are several doctors in that group that are saying, how do I get this stuff? How do I get this stuff? So that's what we did. And they were blown away. We were the #1 presentation, and they were doing 15-minute presentations all day on Saturday, and we were the #1. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, we couldn't do it without your amazing product. And Jeff, was there something else you wanted me to talk about?
No, I mean, I could not have dreamed about that effectiveness that you described.
Thanks.
Yep.
Jeff,
Yes.
what do you want me to talk about?
Just, come, so you guys, I've got David Nemelka on the line here with me right now. He's going to come on and just kind of put a bow on all of this.
Okay.
Just, amazing. So Dave, we'll see you in just a minute, and we'll wing it from there. Thanks so much. Bye. So I apologize about that. Right in the middle of that explanation. Thank you, Dr. Kaur, for stepping up and just sharing that, the significance of who you were around there in Boulder, the level of play that these neurologists and all these people that are studying the brain, what they brought. But really, at the end of the day, you and Jonette were the only ones that really offered
Solutions.
a solution.
Yeah, no one had the findings we had. And a lot of their findings, the way this went down was last year, we were sitting in the audience, and this doctor was touting that it takes 6 months to a year to change the brain. And afterwards, I politely went up to him and said, "You're wrong." And he got really irate with me, and I said, "Look, I did it in 5 days." He's like, "You never did it in 5 days." I'm like, "No, you have multiple sources of data that prove that we changed the brain significantly, which, from a 63-year-old demented brain to a 32-year-old brain in 1 week, it has never been done." And so he said, "Well, you have to prove this." And I said, "Invite us back next year to speak." I didn't think they were going to invite us with 2 days to put together a presentation. But it was really funny because he was sitting in the audience and I didn't realize it was him, but he was sitting there like just snarling at us. But it was very exciting to also, talk about Dr. Prasad and say, look, this is his alma mater. He taught, cancer and nutrients to medical students at CU Denver for more than 30 years. And we made sure that we highlighted him, and they're like, everybody knew who he was. So that was cool too.
Wow. Well, thank you, Dr. Kaur, for coming on and just sharing your aspect of engage the opportunity. So you put yourself in a situation where you could share that story with others. It's just like going back to Dr. Prasad, putting himself in a situation where he could talk to members of Congress, where he could get that funding, where he could answer the questions of these experts in the field, and he came out on top. And so what Dr. Prasad did in the very beginning, as this story began, is that road to success that you've just explained to us. It works 20 years later. It's the same way. Put yourself in a situation where you can talk to others. So let me do this. I'm going to pull up our birthday girl, Beth, and she's going to talk just briefly about what happened yesterday. And then y'all know, because it was live right here, David Nemelka, our owner and CEO, is going to come back and just put a kind of bow on all of this. So thanks again, Dr. Court, for your contribution today. And it's amazing. So Beth, I gave you a little bit of a heads up. And so here we go, adding your spotlight up here with us. I'm going to pull myself out of the way. So it's just you explaining what you're doing as far as the engaging the opportunity and your story. So happy birthday, Beth.
Yeah, happy birthday, Beth.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So yesterday, Denise and I, we rode to Kinley, North Carolina, where Miss Evelyn is, and Marion Willard Dickens. And we had 2 meetings. We had one at 11 and one at 3. Y'all, I'm tell you something. When you get two leaders together, Mary and Willard, our husband and wife, and they believe in the product like they do. When we got there and we did our, talk, showed a couple of videos and that, and then asked for testimonies, I was in shock to see that so many people in that church was taking micro daily, but the testimonies were unreal. And, it's just amazing how we got to Kinley. I mean, it was Jeff that met me in Charlotte. I told Denise. Denise told Miss Evelyn. Miss Evelyn told her cousin. Her cousin told them. I was just amazed yesterday of how many people have been blessed. And, it's like, it's not who you know, it's who they know. And, their challenge is everybody in their church to get healed and get better and then be able to share it with everybody around there. So it's no telling how many people that this little town of Kinley is going to reach. So it's just encouraging for all of us to just keep on talking, keep on sharing, and help people through, some really hard times that they're in with their health. So it's exciting.
Well, thank you, Beth, for coming on and just sharing that with us, spending your special day, your birthday here with us. But you know what? You left out of this story the little thin threads that connected you and I. And that was a story that we shared down in Cancun with all of those participants that were there during our panel. And we're going to be taking an opportunity to redo that, to talk about it's not who you know, but who they know, and the significance of where this is all going. We're just at such an incredible time in the history of this company. And so thanks again for being celebrated this last week as our newest Legacy 2. That's, why don't you just briefly, because we are talking about opportunity, engage the opportunity here in our story. What has this been worth to you for this month?
Well, it's been nice. It was $20,000 check, and I just think about all the hours, all the time that I put into a building, a store, the subways. And, also I was a bail bonds, had my own bail bonding company for 13 years. I just think about, I made good money with that. But when I got someone out of jail, I had to make sure they went to court. And if they didn't, I had to go find them. So it's kind of like, this is the most rewarding, the easiest, the funnest opportunity that I've ever had. So it's awesome.
This is great. So David, is it okay to pull you up here onto the screen here with us?
100%. Yeah.
I just think that this would be a fantastic time to pull you in, because we got this little mantra going right now, and it says, make Dave pay. And Beth's just explained to us that you're paying just her $20,000 for doing something that she's passionate about, that we're passionate about, and we've just heard the entire story of. So David, I'm gonna shift it over to you. I'm gonna pull Beth and myself off the screen, and let's give them a little teaser as to what's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh yeah. So a couple of things is tomorrow, I'll put it out there straight up. Tomorrow we're going to announce at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time another opportunity for all of us to get together. So we're just going to announce that tomorrow. It's going to be a fun announcement. It's going to be a celebration of our very absolutely favorite person in the world. And so we'll just leave it at that. And people need to join us tomorrow and to understand what we have happening. So I just know, at Engage, we're building a family. And Jeff, you, and I look at Beth and Jonathan and Bernard and all of the absolutely lovely, wonderful people who are joining us in our mission to bring health, wellness, and goodness to this world. And then I look at what that means. That means that people's lives are being changed by our products. Like, had a fantastic call this week with Evelyn, the newest member of our growth team. And she was talking about how the products absolutely changed her life. And then that transformed into sharing the products with others into a financial change in her life. So at Engage, it's not just about bringing health and wellness to our bodies, but it's about bringing health, wellness, and goodness to our lives. And a part of that is being a family. So we look at this as a family endeavor. We look at this as people who share the same vision, mission, purpose, values. You know, we talk about being real, which for us means being resilient, meaning at Engage, we just don't quit. We're going to continue on and bring health and wellness and goodness to the world no matter what. Being excellent, you know, striving for continuous improvement. Jeff, I look at who you were 10 years ago when I first met you, and I look at where you're at today. Is it fair to say your life has been transformed in your decade with Engage?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's like on our headstones at some point, there is going to be that before Engage and after Engage, because there was a significant change. Absolutely.
And that change, Jeff, has happened because number one, we share values and vision and mission. But number two, you have been a continuous effort of improvement and working through hard things, never quitting. I mean, you are the epitome, you and Helen are epitome of resilience. And Beth also, I mean, I could tell the same story for so many of our leadership, but you also exhibit and exemplify striving to be better every day. You know, I think of the things you have taught me. You've helped me to be better. And that's what I love about a family is we're in this together. We're in this to help each other to be the best we can be. We're in this to lift each other and to celebrate each other. So when you say make Dave pay, it's tongue in cheek because there's nothing I'd rather do in the world than pay. So it's like, yes, please make me pay. And the money that's on the table is fantastic, fantabulous. And it's life-changing for those that want to grab that and run with it. So at Engage, being real means resilient, excellence. And then also, how about authentic? Is there any example of authenticity better exemplified than in Dr. Prasad? I mean, what you see is what you get 100%. The science behind what his life's journey has created, the information and the knowledge. I think about this. People literally paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to medical school to be taught by Dr. Prasad. And Engage, we are paying you to learn the knowledge he was having others pay him to learn. So we're paying you to gather that knowledge and bring health, wellness, and goodness to the world. The authenticity of Dr. Prasad is, to me, an example of the standard by which we want to hold ourselves to, of transparency and being real. And then finally, when I think about what's the true motive, what's the motivation that we come together on a Sunday afternoon? Why are we even here? It's because we love people. We love ourselves first. Yeah. And we are today on this call as a gift of love, as an expression of love, as an effort of love to let people know they're not alone. Nobody is alone. And it engages family. We're in this together. We lock arms together. Like, Jeff, I love we talk about our logo. What is that logo? It's a circle of people coming together. That circle symbolizes the world. We're Engage Global. We're coming together and locking arms one with another. So when you talk about the vision of Engage and what we're all about, what we're doing, the foundation of it is with scientifically validated products that work, priced at a price point that works, that's affordable to the masses, and then working with you, our affiliates, and joining hands, locking hands on fulfilling our mission together. And how fun is it that, and this is just, my background is the Wharton Business School, investment banking, finance. For whatever reason, I was brought to this Rubik's Cube puzzle of how do you create a financial opportunity in alignment with vision and mission. And that's our predictable pay. That's our all of it bonus. That's our team bonuses. The financial opportunity for people who are fulfilling on the mission is at Engage, unlike any other opportunity you're going to find. And Jeff, you exemplify that. Beth, I saw her face when she was talking about, hitting legacy 2 and what that means to her. And how about, I just look at the people who are hitting H81, and they're making $300 or $450 or $600 or whatever number they're going to make. It's really impactful. So it Engage is a company of joy. Engage is a company of fun. Engage is a company of being real with real products, with real opportunity, and with real hope. So that's what we're about.
Wow. My goodness, Dr. Prasad, did you ever think that you have a business partner that is that
No, I think
passionate
I always
about
tell
your mission?
everybody that this is a divine intervention on my behalf, that I got in touch with David and he accepted me as a person who can help the company. And so I'm very proud of that. And we two work together very effectively and efficiently. Whenever he needs any new product, he proposes the idea. Sometimes I say, no, that's not good. Sometimes I say, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I will do it. So it has is a very almost like synergistic effect, what he has and what I have.
Well, Dr. Prasad, I think about the relationship we have as we're bringing products to the world. And I think of the process you go through. And I couldn't have asked for a better partner than you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. You guys, I don't know that we need to add any more to the feelings that we've had because we just didn't hear truth over this last hour. We felt it. Individuals coming forward, Dr. Prasad leading right there in the very beginning when we were talking about the discouragement that he must have experienced, getting in front of some of those doctors, those professionals that he had in his description, nasty questions. I mean, how many of us get faced with situations like that and we don't push through? Dr. Prasad has taught us from the very beginning how you handle that, and you just keep pushing forward. And so really, Engage's story is still being written.
Yes.
How much of those of you that are on here today, and I'm seeing 103 devices, that means that we add what's on YouTube Live, we add multiple people for one connection. What is your Engage story going to be? What are you going to contribute? Is it going to be something as significant as we have just talked about today? How many lives are going to be affected because you joined and added to this story that is being written? How many more chapters do we have? How big is this book going to be? And look at what you have for examples as to what they've already written in this story. So,
Jeff, I look at today, and we've got an absolutely fantastic family that's coming together, and new people. I know that there's new people who are invited, and so I would welcome any time we're doing these calls and I hope people feel comfortable inviting anyone they know to join us and to get a vision and facts and perspective on what we're doing, because what we're doing is genuinely fulfilling our mission, which is health, wellness, and goodness to the world. So thank you for everybody who's joined us today. And thank you all you visitors who've come. Hopefully you're catching the vision and the passion and the commitment and the reality and authenticity of what we're bringing, because it's pretty special.
It is amazing. Thank you. My goodness, the two partners that just like Bernard, as he was ramping us up for this incredible hour that we've spent. He says, you guys, we're going to see today that significance of chocolate and peanut butter running into each other, and then the changes that will have happened with that. And we certainly saw and felt it today. So thank you again, everybody. I'm going to have you go ahead and open up your microphones, open up your cameras. Let's thank Dr. Prasad for beginning this. Let's thank David for making it happen, giving us that track to run on. And so you guys, we finished on time. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, everyone.
Dr. Carr, have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you, Dr.
Prasad.
Thank
you, Dr. Prasad. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr.
Bye.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Bye.
God bless you.
My co-hosts.
This was wonderful.
Micro Daily family.
Appreciate the product.
All right, Miss Lewis from California.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Good day.
See you tomorrow. Make sure you're on the call.
Next day, man.
Goodbye. Thank you, David.
God bless
Thank you, Jeff.
you.
All righty.
You too.
Good call.
Bye-bye.
Good call.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Bye-bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.
Go.
That was awesome.